Hi y'all, welcome back to another video. So I'm going to start off by removing my last set, and if you missed this video you can check it out here. But because I did use a peel off base coat, I'm able to remove it with some oil, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to be using this oil here. The label is gone, but basically this is the Ordinary's marula oil, and this time it's just oil, no acetone plus oil mix. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this around the perimeter of the nail. Then I'm going to wait for a couple of minutes, 2 to 3-ish minutes to be exact, and then I'm going to go in with a cuticle pusher and start to remove these. And basically what I'm doing is just going around the edges looking for an open space. If you let the oil sit, there will be a space where you can kind of slide a cuticle stick in. Usually I find that little open space around the edges, so right on the sides is where it's the easiest to start at. So once I find it, I just gently move up and down, and then it'll start to slide right off. For this video, I will be skipping natural nail prep, but if you are interested in learning how to do that, I will link a video you can check out in the description box down below. But basically what I've done here is already wash my hands, and then I'm going to go directly into applying my peel off base coat. I'm just going to apply a thin layer of this, and then I'm going to go ahead and cure it. To apply these gel extensions, I will be using the Yoga Zombie Base Gel, and the extensions I'm using today are from Vic Gel Plus. And then I'm just going to apply them like normal, aligning the extension with the cuticle area and then pressing down, then flash curing once everything is in place. No overlay method, no leaving a gap, just lining it right up with the cuticle area. Nothing too special, nothing too out of the ordinary. Once I have my extensions on, I am going to go ahead and do a full cure, and then I'm going to start sealing my cuticles. For today's video, I'm going to be using my e-file and the Pendant 5-in-1 bits, and then I'm going to switch over to a mini sanding band and remove the shine from the extensions. I'm going to do this instead of using a base gel. You can do either or, it's really what you feel like works best for you. And now my extensions are ready for some nail art. Even though we're going to be doing some 3D floral nails, we still need a base. So I decided to go in with this shade here. This has a pinky, peachy tone to it. And I thought since we're coming up on spring, that is perfect. You guys know I love a Mia base color that has a brown tone to it, but I wanted a little bit more of the springy vibe, so thought to bring a little bit of peach to this look. For these polishes though, I do like to apply 3 layers to get the coverage that I prefer, but in between each layer I am making sure to cure for 60 seconds. Then once I have my final layer applied, I am going to cure, and then I'm going to go in with a buffing block because I like to do my French tips on a matte surface. So you can either apply a matte top gel or just buff the nail like I will be doing. Either one works. To draw the French tips, I'm going to be using this white polish here and a thin liner brush. And I'm just going to go back and forth until my French tip looks the way I want it to. This time I'm not going to be doing a deep spa line. I want everything a little bit rounder, and I also want the French tip to be lower down on the nail than what I typically like to do, because I want to make sure there's enough room for the 3D flower I want to place on the nail, and I want you to be able to still tell that it's sitting on top of a French tip. For French tips, I always like to do an outline first to make sure everything looks good, and then once it's up to my standards, I will then fill in the outline, kind of like a coloring book. Any areas where I feel like the French tip could be a little bit crispier, I'm going to take this flat brush and use this to clean up my French tip lines. And then once it looks the way I want it to, I'm gonna cure. But as I looked at this, I felt like it could definitely use a second coat to get me a brighter white. So that's what I did. And I just painted right on top of the French tip that's already there. So make sure the first layer is really up to your standards because that is going to be the guideline for the second layer. So the easiest way to make 3D flowers is going to be using a silicone mold. This is going to make life so much easier because it takes out the need to sculpt the petals individually. So what you would do is just take whatever polish of your choosing and place it inside the mold, cure it, and then we would get a flower. So I would like to have a glassy, sparkly flower here. So I am actually going to be using the new Twinkle Pendant collection from Show Me Korea to create my flowers. But there are different options in here, definitely perfect for spring. So I'm going to swatch each of them and then decide which color I want to use. So I decided to go in with shade number 6, which has a peach undertone, just to tie in the peach base that we used as well. So I'm going to be taking a little bit of the polish and placing it into the silicone mold. I want to make sure that I take a thin liner brush and push the polish downward in the silicone mold, because essentially a silicone mold is a cutout of the shape we want. So I want to make sure that gel is completely filling the entire cutout. Before curing though, we want to make sure that the color is evenly dispersed. So I'm going to flip this over to the other side so I can see what everything is looking like, and then spread out the color a little bit more in places that I feel like it's lacking. And once I'm satisfied with that, I still want a glassy type effect. I am going to take a glossy top gel and place it in here as well. So I am actually going to tap the edges to make sure all the gel is filling in that cutout. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop this in a lamp for 60 seconds. And after curing, everything will have hardened and you'll be able to just pop the flower right out of the mold. It's essentially like you just made your own nail charm. Super easy, super quick to do. Also, you'll see here as I take it out that there's excess pieces of gel, and this is because I use a lower viscosity top gel and things were running a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those pieces. But before I do that, I am actually going to do a second set of flowers using the exact 2 molds that we used earlier. And while my second set of flowers are curing, I'm going to begin removing the excess pieces. So all I did was take some tweezers and my finger to remove them, and it was so easy to just pop off. That's another reason why I recommend using a low viscosity gel, because even if it does run and you have excess pieces, it's easier to pop off. There really wasn't a lot of resistance. I just had to add a little bit of pressure. So here is what everything looks like cleaned. We have my 4 flowers. We have 2 larger flowers and then 2 of them are a little bit smaller. And you can still see that it has a glossy, glassy type effect, but there's a peach hue to them. So that Twinkle Pendant polish really came through for us because it has the right amount of sparkle and color, perfect for what I was looking for here. So I'm going to start placing these on the nail. On my thumb and my middle fingers where I'm going to place the 2 biggest flowers because those are wider than my pointer and my ring finger. And to attach them, I use the Ivy Fix Gel. I placed a little bit of it on the back of the flower and then a small dot of it right in the center where I wanted to place the flower. And I decided to use the Ivy Fix Gel because it's thicker and I didn't want the flower moving around while I figured out the placement I wanted. And then once I have everything in place, I'm going to take the D-Gel Light Stick and flash cure. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for the middle finger, basically putting the flower right in the center of the smile line. For my other fingers, I went back and forth with the placement and ultimately settled on taking the two smallest flowers and placing one on my ring finger and one on my pointer finger, but placing them off to the edge a little. And here's what it ended up looking like. But I did not want to put another flower on my pinky finger because my pinky finger caves in, and a lot of times when I put a charm on that finger, it ends up being uncomfortable. So I wanted to leave it bare, but I wasn't sure exactly what design I wanted to do. So in the meantime, while I did some thinking, I went in with some more of the Ivy Fix Gel and placed it in the center of each flower so I can add about 4 caviar beads. When I was doing that, I thought, why not just put 4 caviar beads in the center of the pinky? Just like this. So there is a little bit of cohesion, but I don't have to have a big flower. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that and then finish up by going in with a glossy top coat. This is a medium viscosity top gel and I absolutely love the brush on this. It's very flexible. It fits into crevices. So this was perfect for this. And then I'm going to do my final cure. And here are what the nails look like all done. This is the perfect transition for me into spring. I love the 3D flowers. However, sometimes molding them can feel a little bit overwhelming, especially if you're newer to nail art. So this just makes everything easier by using that silicone mold. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. All the products I used will be linked in the description box down below. And of course, if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so on your way out. But in the meantime, I will see you in the next video.